All right. So anything else on the chat?
Suzette Badia went door knocking on Saturday. Some promise.
Do you guys not have control, like as the host?
Doesn't look like it.
Can you give them host to?
Can't switch slides now.
All right, I've asked her to do that. I'll text her as well.
Thank you, Lorna.
Thank you, Lana. Nothing like a little excitement on a Monday, right, guys?
Yeah, well, it's exactly it, but not everybody knows to mute themselves, and so you guys need to be able to have control of that.
Yeah, so as we're getting our control on our end, you know, some of the things that we just want to put out there is that throughout this session, just make sure that you're engaged as much as possible. Try to keep your video on. Be ready for the chat box for any questions that you may have. We are going to pose questions to you as well. And we want to make this engaging on both ends, just not having us just talk through everything, that we're also getting feedback from you all and that you're having the chance to learn from each other as well. So please keep those cameras on, keep the fingers ready for the chat box. Make sure you have your participant guide ready. And if you're taking notes, pen and paper, Roland's going to be going over some numbers as well. So you may want a calculator ready, and definitely your A game.
All right, guys, I think we should get rolling here. No pun intended. All right.
Nice.
So let's talk about the secret success to being a successful agent. And I think you've heard this all before, folks. The secret is that there actually is no secret. We know exactly what successful agents do every single day, especially in Keller Williams, by following the models and systems that we run. There is no secret. It's just your motivation and what you choose to do to be successful. We do know that for the most part, when it comes to being a successful agent, there's two main activities that we are going to focus in on. Activities that are going to grow your business and activities that are going to run your business. And we know that in terms of working hard, that's what we expect everybody to do because that's your focus. When it comes to growing your business, you know you're going to lead generate. Talking to people is what's going to give you the opportunities to find your listing appointments and your presentations there and your buyer presentations to bring buyers to homes. And obviously you want to know your market. So growing your business is about understanding your marketplace. If you're not doing listing appointments and lead generating or showing homes, you want to be previewing real estate. Become an expert in your area. When it comes to running your business, obviously your main things are going to be marketing your seller listings and obviously showing homes and negotiating contracts. Obviously that's a main point of being successful, is landing those deals. And ultimately you'll be very responsible in terms of understanding transactions and either using a TC or using your productivity coach to help make sure that your transactions are running smoothly. And keep in mind, I mean, your customers are not only just the buyers and the sellers, they're the inspectors, they're the people that are going to be appraising homes. Those are the people that you're going to manage those vendor relationships, so to speak, because you're the glue that holds everything all together. And clearly you're going to set goals, right? If you don't have a goal, we know in bold that if you don't have a plan, you're actually planning to fail. So ultimately you really want to have a goal so you know you're moving forward and how to measure yourself. Clearly you're going to stick to compliance and avoid any risks. Avoid risks that may be taken. Speak with your coaches, speak with your operating principal, your team leaders. If you have a question, don't feel like it's a silly one. The one that's not asked is a silly question, okay? So it's clear. I've asked my broker and my TL many questions. I think until I had my first 10 transactions under my belt, I felt like they were part of my team. And that's what you should feel, is that we're all part of your team. When they work with you, they're working with us as well. So take advantage of the knowledge and the expertise you have on your teams to really be successful.
I would also, make the connections with the other agents that are in your market center. The ALC are great examples of doing business right. And part of the KW culture is to come from contribution and make time for each other so that we're all succeeding. We all want to be in a win-win situation. So if you haven't had a chance to introduce yourself to the ALC, I would suggest that and start making those connections within your market center. And then there's that opportunity to network outside of your market center as well, to start masterminds and get information that way too. So, going off of what Roland is saying, there's a lot of opportunities, avenues, teachers that are out there for you.
Yeah, and just one other team member, so to speak, and that's the co-broke you're working with. So when you actually create a partnership where you actually have something under contract, at least when I work with that particular agent or realtor, I make it my commitment for success to them that I'm going to be in it with them. We're now a team, and our job is to make sure both parties come to a win-win in this scenario. And you have my commitment to you that I'll always be there to support you in this transaction, and my expectation is that they would have the same. So that's my win-win with my vendor relationship there. Clearly, the last couple items is attending training such as Ignite, working with your coach on a regular basis. If you're not learning, you can't move forward. So if you feel like you're not progressing, that means we got to get you to be in the learning mode some more in order to get you forward, to move your business forward. And then lastly, but one of the most important things that I'm passionate about is managing money. You have to be great at managing your money. And ultimately, we're in a profession that is very, very lucrative if you manage your money. And you will find in the future that there's opportunity. It's not how much money you make in life, it's what you do with what you make that counts. And so hopefully we can help you on the right paths, making the right decisions for your business, to grow your business and to grow your wealth and your income and meet your goals. So with that said.
Yeah, so for today, as with every day, we're going to concentrate on the lead generating for buyers and sellers. That is something that should be done every day. It should be time blocked into your schedule, and there's all different ways to lead generate. If the terminology lead generate is intimidating, look for different verbiage that resonates with you. There was a lot of conversation of calling it care calls, reach out, embrace the verbiage that really motivates you. So an example of that is when I first started, units just seemed so not personal. It wasn't resonating with me. It wasn't really motivating me. And I just changed that to the number of lives changed in a year. Once I put that verbiage in, it changed my mindset completely and motivated me to actually do more business and make a difference in more people's lives throughout the year. So that's just an example of that in terms of the, lead generating. And for today, obviously, we're going to be talking about setting goals and the importance of goals within your business. This is something that is touched upon both in your business as well as your personal life. And then, attending the training and coaching, what you're doing right now. So I commend you all for taking the time to jump on these sessions and go through Ignite. And you're making a commitment to building your business and ultimately your future success. And KW has just a plethora of opportunities to learn through courses, Bold, attending Mega Camp, be it virtual or in person, family reunion, masterminds. So really tap into everything that KW offers. And, at times it may be like drinking from a fire hose, though have faith that you are actually taking in that information, and you'll be amazed at how much that builds your confidence. And a lot of success in real estate is having the confidence in your everyday activities.
So with that said, so what we're going to start is we're going to talk about envisioning your big life. And ultimately, our goals for this workshop today is setting goals and also working on our 411, which is our steps towards achieving our goals. And when it comes to today, we just want to have fun. So ultimately, That's the main thing here. And our opinion is if you're enjoying what you're doing, you're going to have fun. You're going to ask yourself the tough questions, but it's all to help you move forward. And we hope you enjoy the conversation. When it comes to setting goals, you have to ask yourself some basic questions. And those are, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go in this career? Where do you want to go in your life at this point in time? It's just one of those great opportunities to sit back and think for just a few minutes, to ask you that serious question. What motivates you? What is it about real estate or your life that's motivating right now? Where are you? What are some of the goals that you have personally and professionally? We're going to talk a lot about professional goals here, but what, for this particular workshop, but in goal setting in general, you can have personal goals as well, but we'll do professional today. And then certainly, but not least, how do you get there, right? You can have a goal, you can have motivation, but what's the path to getting there is going to be where we're going to focus. And so let me just ask you a question, maybe we can get some information in the chat, is what makes a goal matter? And when it comes to setting a goal, what makes a goal matter?
So hit up that chat box. Family.
Yeah.
Family, great point.
All right, we got a lot of people saying.
Oh, that's it.
why.
Keep them coming.
I can't see, so you're going to have
Oh,
to read
you
them.
also over
Personal
here too.
growth. Let's see, following smart principles, challenging
Making it smart.
sustainable. Survival. Survival's a good one. Balance in life. Nancy. Try financial security. Renithia.
All right, so we're kind of hitting the point. So it's in a nutshell, right? It's something you care about, and ultimately it's going to have an effect on your life, and ultimately it has to be achievable. Those are the main things when it comes to feedback, and great responses on the chat, guys. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So, who knows what the one thing is? Can you throw a little, hey there, oh yeah, I know what it is in the chat box, this little book right here.
Heather said great book.
Absolutely
Yes.
great book, amazing book, okay? This should be on your desk. There's a lot of places that you can get it from. It obviously was written by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. You can get it from Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can buy it off of Keller Inc. You can go to the One Thing website and buy it off of there. It is also on Audible. And I do recommend getting it both in print as well as on Audible. It's great to be able to just plug it in while you're driving in your car, which you will do a lot of as a real estate agent. Though it is amazing how you take in information when you're reading it and then when you're hearing it. So, we are going to be talking about a few of the principles from the One Thing. You should definitely be checking that out yourself. And we're going to throw something fun in right now. In the chat box, for those of you that are participating today, we want to find out who has most recently been licensed. So throw out, like if you've been licensed for 2 weeks, throw that out in the chat box. What we would like to do is connect with you on Facebook. And if you don't have a copy of the One Thing, we are actually going to be sending you a copy of the One Thing to help you grow your business. So please make sure that that's happening, which it is. Well done. Okay.
A lot coming in.
Wow, we got a lot of new people.
Days.
2 days.
All right, Juan, you're on that. You got
Days.
to find the
Yeah,
winner
wait.
on that.
All right.
So, one of the things too that can help your learning, but also help the Market Center is to look to create a book club around the One Thing. There's a lot of resources on the onething.com that can be used to actually start a book club. And, the more that you teach, the more that you actually learn yourself. So I challenge you out there. It's a great way to meet with colleagues. You can do it through Zoom. And it also holds you accountable to reading the book. So would someone be willing to come off of mute and actually read the slide that's in front of us now?
Let's see.
I can do it.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, Andrew.
who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish. The one thing.
Thank you, Andrew.
Welcome.
So thinking about this quote, and again, you can, let's actually get some communication going. So you can take yourselves off mute and just have a quick discussion of why it is important to set goals.
Oh, I guess since I wrote the thing, I should probably give the first
There you go,
comment.
Andrew.
So I would say that goals give you a certain amount of energy. They give you this, they crystallize what you're really trying to accomplish. So if you look at a goal and you say, oh, wow, I can do that. You really start to actually start going through it in your mind and say, okay, if I was going to do that, you might say at first, oh, geez, that's impossible. But then you change your thinking a little bit and you say, but if it was possible, how would I do it? And then you start putting things in place so you could say to yourself, wow, okay, this is how I'm going to get to where I want to go.
Mm-hmm. So it creates a map.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Andrew. Anyone else? Anyone else want to
I do.
chime in?
Any-
Yeah, I think that goals, depending on what they are, if they're really small, short-term goals or larger ones, and I think that most of us probably have both, the short-term ones can, especially right now where everything is so new, and like you said, the drinking from a fire hose, the short-term goals can make it feel slightly successful, even if the short-term goal was to be part of Ignite today. It's something that you then at the end of the day check off and feel, okay, did it. And then the longer-term goal for me is something that I strive for. So when things are really tough, I can then look into my long-term goal and be like, this is why I'm going through a really hard thing that I maybe don't want to do.
Yeah, great input there, Bethany. Anybody else?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay,
Um,
jump on in, Kay.
Okay.
Good morning. Goal to me is the same as having accountability partner. And the reason is because when I have a goal, set up a goal daily, then I am accountable. And at the end of the day, if I accomplish, I'll put the sweet check off mark.
Nice. Yeah. So, Kay, I'm not going to let you off the hook too quick.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming, and I shouldn't assume, and that's why I'm going to ask this. You're writing down your goals. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm writing down my goals daily.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Getting it down on paper helps with
Yes.
actually making those goals successful. Now, let me ask you another question. Are you also sharing those goals with anyone in your life that help you stay on track?
Unfortunately, there's nobody in my life who would be a person to share goals.
Well, I think that you have about, how many do we have on this call?
How many are there?
168.
Okay, you have 168 plus us. So you have a
Okay.
whole new family right now that's out there that want to see you accomplish your goals. So
Okay,
yeah,
thank
great
you.
job writing them down, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Anybody else feel compelled to share?
I guess, yeah, I got something. I guess goals more or less can be viewed as vision. There's an old saying, where there is no vision, the people perish. I won't say where that came from, but that same school of thought can go into business. Where there is no vision, the business perishes. So vision more or less is goals to me. And now you have something to aim towards, something to shoot for. So that kind of goes on the back of what Andrew said.
Yeah. Thank
Excellent
you, Al.
point, Al.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's important to set goals because the opposite of this quote can also take place. So, if your activities don't have a guiding goal, you're likely in this business to be very busy, but not really getting a lot done. So those goals can be your, the beacons of light when it seems super busy, or, when you need focus. So setting goals that matter means doing the work that matters. And when our work matters, we tend to do more of it, and we tend to do it well, which does breed success in real estate.
Right. So taking the one thing a little bit more specific, look at one thing, page 88. So think, act, achieve. We all know that, achieving a goal, you have to work hard. We all understand that. We all agree. And we understand if you put in time and effort, you should see some results and you should see some successes. There's one thing here that will determine overall your ultimate success. Do you know what that might be in terms of determining your goals to be successful? What's that one thing that you really should do when you consider creating goals? Any thoughts? Simple thing.
Hope,
Track your progress.
Said written.
What's Ray say?
Hope said written.
Written, okay.
Jim said track.
Track.
Nicole, smart goals.
Do the activities.
Do the activities, great point. Okay, how about this? Think big. Think big. The biggest challenge to goal setting is oftentimes we set the bar low. When actually if we set it high and say we set the bar really high, chances are we're gonna, if we don't hit the goal, we're gonna hit way higher than we had planned originally. So ultimately think big, think out of the box. Don't think about one transaction, think about 10 transactions. Don't think about 50,000 in annual income. Think about 100,000 in annual income. Don't think about achieving a wealth of $200,000. Think about being a millionaire. And this brings me back to many, many years ago when I started investing. I started at 27 years old in the pharmaceutical industry. I think my personal wealth was maybe about 27,000. I was making 27,000 a year. I thought I was the cat's meow. I was having a great time. And I ran into somebody who was been in the business for 10 or 15 years at the time. And he said, so what's your goal financial? I said, I don't know. I said, honestly, I think if I could make 50,000 a year, I think I'd be so happy. And he said, Roland, he goes, when you make 50, you're going to want to make 100. I said, okay, I understand that thought process. He said, but the biggest thing for you is, where do you want to be? I said, love to be a millionaire. He said, okay. I said, how do I do that? So he basically gave me a plan. He said, Roland, he said, you're 27 years old, start investing with a basic plan, $15 for every 100 you make, put into your retirement account. It'll sit in the market. It'll grow at the market rate for 7 or 8% a year on average. Your money will be making dividends, and that in turn will grow money. And so I started to think about being a millionaire when I was 27 years old. And I'm happy to say, as that process went along, and I just stuck to the plan of 15% invested for every paycheck I had over and over and over again. It was continuous. And making sure I was diversified appropriately, I easily achieved my goal. And I never, ever thought that I would be able to achieve the goal. So the main thing is, when you look at it, you want to figure out what you want to accomplish. You want to figure out how you're going to do that. And then you also want to be around people that have achieved that goal. And that's the biggest thing, is be with mentors that are where you want to go. In the market center, talk to the ALC people, spend time with them, understand how they do their business. Speak to the operating principal, speak to the team leader, speak to the coach. Be in the thought process, be with those people that are where you want to be. And ultimately, that's going to be the biggest propeller of your goals going forward. And I know for me, I never thought I could reach that investment total in my retirement account in a relatively reasonable time, making such little money in the beginning. But I did because I stuck to the plan and I just followed their guidance, and I had a mentor. And so with our business, do the same. Stick to a plan, stick to what we're going to share with you today, and have somebody help you through the tough points of the rocky road, so to speak, your ALC and everybody else, or your accountability partner, and you will certainly get there.
Yeah, so, the question that needs asking is, how big is your box? And I did put it in the chat. So for those that are daring, why don't you share with us what's something that, how big is your box? What do you think? What do you want to hit? you know, it's, if you're not thinking big, you're creating an artificial ceiling of achievement. And at times as a newer agent, that happens. There's the limiting beliefs that hold you back. You know, one that was for me, personally was, you know, I was a little intimidated to go for listings. I moved into an area that I didn't know anyone. I was brand new to Northampton, Greenfield, and didn't have family here. I wasn't established. And I got intimidated by going after a listing. So the story I told myself was, well, I work great with buyers. So I'm just gonna concentrate on buyers, like buyers, buyers, buyers. I'm so good with buyers. I worked through my limiting beliefs, and now my business is pretty much 50-50 with an emphasis on going after more listings, because listings is the name of the game. So that's just one example of where I put an artificial ceiling on myself as a newer agent, and I wasn't thinking big enough. And the more that I get immersed in KW, you know, going off of some of the stuff that Roland said, you know, again, going back to the ALC members, you know, I want to be around and know about those that are playing the big game and are doing amazing things with their businesses, where they're also doing amazing things within their personal lives. And I guess more importantly for me, their communities. How are they giving back? So with that, there's so many opportunities to, you know, maybe not so much now rub shoulders with those agents, though, you know, attending, right, Roland? Attending mega camp, attending family reunion, masterminds, even, you know, eat, sleep, and creep real estate. Find some of those agents, those mega agents that speak to you, follow them on Facebook. When they're doing podcasts, listen to their podcasts. You know, there's inspiration everywhere, books. So, you know, you definitely want to really expand the way that you look at things, and create that big box for yourself. You want to create a large ceiling so that when you hit that ceiling, you can just break right through and go after a new ceiling. So, so there I am going off on a tangent. But yeah, so
We actually had two people share.
Yeah.
Joey and Linda both said they want to do 20 transactions and help 20 families in the next year.
Awesome.
awesome.
We
And
got
it can be done.
One more, Riley, creating their own team.
Nice, nice. So, you know, for those two goals, you have amazing examples within KW of not only those that have done it. If it's been done once, it can be done again. Though agents that are willing to come from contribution and share. This is a brokerage that is very much about sharing and collaboration. So make sure that you're tapping into that. So yeah.
All right, so let's go to the next step, and that is starting to envision your big life, and how does that look? And we talked about it earlier. Is, you know, putting it down on paper resonates. It helps you understand it. It helps you connect to it. It helps you share with other people that maybe your accountability, your partner in life, or your friends or your family. These are my goals. These are the big things that I want to achieve in life. And so in your participants guide, you should see on page 3 a chart similar to what we have with some rectangles connecting to a centered circle. So I'll give you a second to find that in your participants guides. And I'll just speak to it. Oh, there's Nicole. So she's showing
I
it.
don't know if you can see it.
We can virtually write on it for you, but I think one at home would be easier. So if you don't have it, you can just take out a blank piece of paper and put a circle in the middle. And
Hello?
I think he froze.
That's okay. All right. So if you have a question, oh, unstable. Can you guys hear us right now?
You keep freezing and unfreezing.
Okay, a little internet challenge.
We can hear you now, but we didn't hear anything you
Yes.
said about this particular page.
Okay, thanks, Bethany. Appreciate the feedback, everybody. We'll work with our challenges, right? So ultimately on page 3 of your participant guide is what I'm referring to. Okay, and if you don't have it in front of you, you can just take out a piece of paper and you can draw a circle in the center of it, and you can draw some dotted lines to make it 5 rectangles, 5 big boxes. And what I want you to start to think about is some of your most meaningful goals that you want to achieve. And, you know, we're talking about it in this particular instance. You can have a goal. For example, some people have goals of paying down their kids' student debt. Some people have goals of becoming a millionaire. Some people have goals of saving money for a down payment for their first home. Some people have goals of creating a foundation where they can donate to Habitat for Humanity or a charity of their choice. So what I want you to do is just write down 5 goals that you feel are things that kind of catch your heart, catch your attention, you'd love to be able to do over the next, 12 months to 18 months. So I'll give you just a couple minutes, and then as you're doing this, guys, try to throw it in the chat box. Give us an idea of some of the goals you're writing down in there so we can kind of share to give other people some ideas as well.
And we got Michael, pay off the house. Carolyn, pay off my student loans. Let's see. Joey Smallwood, she said, family so they can live well. Give to St. Jude's for children.
Awesome.
Andrew, get another rental property. Increase savings, buy a home. General passive income. Save for college. We hear a lot of save for college.
Bless
Maybe college.
you. Bless you.
Oh my goodness, I thought I was on mute. Sorry.
You got 2 bless yous out of it, so that's okay.
That was awesome.
All right, so quite a few of you have chimed in with some of your goals. All right, so the next thing what I'd like for you to do is I'm assuming that there's probably a dollar amount next to some of those goals. In the rectangular box, you may have a dollar amount for a particular goal. What I'd like you to do is I'd like for you to add up all the dollar amounts that you have in those rectangles and total them up and put them in the center. Anybody care to share what that amount might be? What they're looking for in the chat? Whoa, we got some big numbers.
Yes.
Love it.
Cynthia says
1.5 million. Love it.
Nikki 950,000. Joey 500,000. Let's see here. Annie 371,000. Specific.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
With purpose.
Another 500,000, another
We got a 2 million.
200,000. We got almost 2 million. Love that one. It is definitely doable. All right, so let's take our actions to the next step. So ultimately understanding your goal is really important.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, understanding your goal is very important. All right, so yeah, now that we have a vision and a goal, we're gonna look what it means for you to achieve that goal through real estate. And Roland's going to help you with that. And this is where you may want to take out a calculator. So be it on your phone or whatever, or a pen and paper. Though prior to starting that, just real quick, Juan, did we have someone who was newly licensed?
We do.
You have that person?
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to throw another thing out there. So, you know, we're in Longmeadow, Mass. That's where our market center is. It's in Western Massachusetts. Though Roland and I were talking, you know, since we are from Maine, that we might be doing a little bit of a give me for those Mainers out there. Though what we want to do next as a giveaway is whoever is the furthest from our market center, which is in Longmeadow, Mass, we will send a gift card to a gift card to Staples to be able to bind your MREA book like this, or any book that you want. This is a great way to make it a resource. So again, just a little thing to help you build your business. So again, throw in the chat box where you're from, and we may have to do some searching on this one.
Yeah, this is gonna take a
So
little bit.
sorry, Longmeadow agents, you get the, you know, the grace and presence of us. So that's your gift. All right. So anyways, Roland, you're next.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, let's talk about the main thing. The main thing we're talking about here is how your commission works, and help you to understand the opportunity when you bring in commission, and how that kind of disseminates down to you to help you reach your
Oh,
goals.
hold on. Can't hear you.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Lorna. So just speaking again, back to the slide. So what we're going to talk now is a little bit about how your commission works, how your splits work, and help you to follow the money, so to speak. So we know, for example, when you co-broke with an agent in general, right? It's usually a 50-50 split, whether you have a listing and you're the buyer. Ultimately, you split that with the other broker, right? So half of that commission is going to go to one brokerage, and the other half is going to go to the other brokerage, okay? Next, what you'll have is your general, let's see, you're going to come, basically the third of that is going to be for your cap and your market center and your fees. Okay, so a third of what you have is going to go in that direction, right? Followed by the next third, which would be your business expenses, your car, your phone, how do you run your business. So as you can see where the money goes, then we have our last third, which is really what you're going to take home, okay? And keep in mind that take-home money also entails your need for putting money away for Uncle Sam. Okay, so one of the biggest things that I always do immediately when I get a check is I make sure I allocate that donation I'm going to make at the end of the year, or in my quarterly payments to the government, my taxes. So it's extremely important. Now, how can you impact the size of your share that goes to the market center? Any ideas of how you can maybe make that bigger?
Right. Okay. What'd you say?
Capping.
Oh.
Capping, great point. So great point. So once you cap, you're gonna bring home 100% of that. So great point. Anything else?
oh, we got some in the
Oh, what do we have in the chat?
Sell high-priced homes.
Sell high-priced homes. That's it.
referrals.
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 Excellent. Okay. Be more of a listing agent than a buying agent, maybe? Kind of control.
Downline.
Great point. Profit
Ooh.
share.
Good one. Good
Absolutely awesome. Passive income. All right. Anything else?
one. Ooh, lowering expenses. Spot on.
Okay,
Good job,
so
Liz.
great point, Liz. Lowering expenses as well. So there's lots of ways that you can manage to keep more of that half or grow that. And so great ideas, everybody. So let's get a little bit more into the details here about
We have a question here.
Oh, question?
Yeah, Adele said, is the taxes to Uncle Sam based on the amount you get in commission or the amount you deposit in your bank account?
Well, ultimately, it's what you bring home that determines how much you'll be paying in taxes, right? And also, depending upon your expenses to offset your income at the end of the year. I mean, the main thing should be that you speak with a financial advisor to help you plan where your money goes for retirement, but also speak to your accountant because he's on your team or she's on your team to really manage that. So great question. Ultimately, when I put something into my account, that's my taxable number. And then from there, I generally allocate, I allocate 35% towards taxes. I just put that away. So I know that I have a little extra. And next year, and if I have extra come back to me, then I use that to put into my business at the end of the year. So usually I allocate about 35%, but it's your taxable income rate, which will vary from person to person. Okay, great question though. So let's figure out a little bit about the numbers. And so when we look at the numbers, the main numbers that we speak to most often is your average sale price, okay? And that's going to determine how big that half is. So if you feel like you need to make a considerable amount more money than you're making now, my average sale price is about $250. And that's over a 12-month period. Just so happens this year, though, I've been in a couple higher end homes, so my average sale price is now around $280, $290. So if you feel like you have the need to make more money, then find the market that's going to support you to do that. So your average sale price is important. And then your average gross income, for example, off of this particular average sale price is $250,000. So the average gross income is $6,250. So you need to know what your take home is based on your average sale price. So next, what you really want to figure out is ultimately what's your contribution to the market center and how is that calculated and what you need to accomplish. So for us, for example, we have a cap of $24,000. We have a split. The average split is 30% to the market center. And we also have a royalty cap of 6%. So for me, in order to achieve 100% of contribution to the market center, I would need to bring in about $27,000. So you need to know what your expenses are and commitment to the market center as well. Any questions about that before I go forward?
Nope, nothing yet.
Okay.
Now, feel free to take yourselves off mute as well. You know, some people may be watching the chats and getting information from there, though feel free to speak up too.
Yeah, and a quick Zoom tip, if you just click and hold the space bar, it'll actually temporarily unmute you. So it's kind of like a walkie-talkie.
I like that.
Well done,
Thanks
Juan.
for the pointer, Juan. Okay.
That's why Juan
Can I
hangs
say
out with us.
something, Roland?
Go ahead, Lana, please do.
Sorry to interrupt. I just see that there's people asking about standard cap. There is no standard cap for market centers. Every market center is different. Just like the average sales price in my market center is different than where Roland is. And I'm in the Concord Lexington Market Center. And so our cap is going to be different based on the real estate, right? So just keep that in mind, everybody. I know somebody had asked about that.
Yeah,
Lorna, thank you
Lorna.
so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, the
Okay,
only
so-
thing that would run standard is the 3,000 to Texas. Get the Gary money is the only thing
Correct.
that stays the same.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. That's right. The Gary money is consistent no matter where you are, right?
Where can we find this?
That's the franchise royalty.
Our market center?
I would suggest you speak to your market center administrator and he or your operating principal, and you can get the information that you're looking for your particular market center. Because like Lorna said, it'll vary.
It should have been it's usually in your independent contractor. So if you look at that contract that you signed when you joined the market center, it would be in there.
Great point, Lorna.
Excuse me. I have a question. Tim just said the 3,000. So is that the franchise royalty? That's for all
That's
the
the
market
international
centers, Keller
royalty,
Williams?
correct? Yes.
Okay.
That's
Okay, thank you.
6% per
Riley has a
transaction until it
question.
caps at $3,000.
All
Okay.
right,
thank you.
Riley has a question from
Yeah.
the chat.
What's the average number of agents at CAP?
What's the average number of agents that cap? That is a great question. And since I've been around, I'm going to have to rely on some of the other productivity coaches and TLs that are on the call. What's the average percentage of people in a market center that'll cap? It's a really good question.
I would argue, I mean, I can speak for Market Center 463. We're in, our mothership is Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and we've got business centers all over New Hampshire and southern Maine. We right now, actually, I do a proven cappers mastermind, and we're having that today at 12, and I invited 222 people to that. So it's a Zoom call. Don't worry, we're not going to try to get into a car.
Yeah.
That being said, I would argue with any sales organization, you've always typically get your 333s. So we see, and that number is ever changing because it's scrolling because people come in and out of cap status. We typically hold about 30 to 33% of our people are typically in cap status.
Yeah, and looking back at our center, it's probably around there too. I'm sorry, Lorna.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to say just we're similar. So.
And to Tim's point, right, it's going to fluctuate depending on everybody's anniversary dates as to when they're in the cap field or not. Our goal as an organization, right, is one of our goals, I should say, as a coach, is to help you get to that capping level where you can exceed and get to some of your really strong financial goals or whatever those goals might be. I mean, we'd love to have you there and get you there. That's a great opportunity. That's what I pride myself in doing as a launch coach, is to help people get there. And that's an exciting moment when you hear somebody capped and they have 3, 4, 5, 6 months of the year left where they can roll in their revenues at 100%, which is outstanding. And it's pretty exciting. And usually when you cap, you should be able to keep that momentum to cap and to cap sooner each year if things continue to play out.
When I went to speak with my market center for the first time, the tour they gave me, one of the walls we walked past was a picture of every agent that capped. That was one of the biggest things that was like just a big aha. Wow, look at that. What people do.
Yeah, Bill, that's right. We built the cap wall just recently. So so what the thing is when we have a capper, we usually give out a cap, right? So we have people that are chronic cappers. You can't put more than one hat on a head. So we put them on the wall and we put a cap above their picture each time. And that's a nice way to reflect it. So I agree. It's very motivational to see that. Okay, so let's move forward and let's talk a little bit about the process of what includes in your transactions and your transaction goals. So for example, let's look at some numbers here. And actually, let's move this one. Can we move this so I can see my?
Gotcha.
All right, so sorry guys, I had to move my my screens for everybody's pictures so I could see my numbers. So ultimately, what we have here is an example. This is an example of somebody that's looking to have a net income goal of $100,000. Okay, and we're going to calculate what contributes to this. So ultimately, we have $100,000 as a net income goal. We know that from, in my example, with the royalty and the cap fee, it's $27,000. Business expenses that I have in general to calculate when I did my goal for this was about $24,000 a year. So my overall GCI goal would be $151,000 if I wanted to bring them on $100,000 and take into consideration I wanted to cap, hit my royalty, I wanted to hit my business expenses. So my my overall goal for income would be about $151,000. So it's important for you to start to figure out what your net income goal is, understand your company dollar and royalty, start to understand your business expenses. And one thing that I want to just, it was mentioned to me when I first started, and I can't thank that person enough. When I started in real estate, I didn't start with a spending attitude in mind. I didn't start by deficit spending where I put pressure on myself. I bought to buy a dial or to do advertising or to buy a million signs before my first listing. Spend as your business grows, strategically spend on your business. Okay, so that's my biggest advice to you. Good return on investment. You can practice red light, green light. One of Gary Keller's great stories about expenses, I think, it ultimately is, monitor your expenses. If you're not getting a good ROI on them, cut them, or find another avenue to spend for your business to help grow your business. So in this example, I have $151,000 as the total GCI. With my average transaction being where I would bring home $6,250, that means I have 24 transactions as my goal. So what we need to do is have you understand what your transactional goal will be. And I'll just give you a minute, and then maybe what we can do is we'll look in the chat box to see who's thinking about what their total GCI might be, and also what their transaction goal would be based on the numbers they're putting together.
Yeah, if anybody has done this with, be it themselves or with a mentor, with a PC coach, that is a coach. So it would be interesting to see where you all are at with putting this down on paper and seeing what's your annual transaction goal that you're going after.
Anything in the chat? 21 transactions.
21. Yep. My GCI. Nicole said it would be 50 transactions, 6 transaction. Suzette 30 transactions. Brittany 15. What is D and E or DE?
So the total GCI, so your gross commission income, and what's your average commission when you have a sale of a home? That's what D and E are. Great question.
Mm-hmm.
Kaylee says 18 transactions.
Yeah, and everyone's transaction count is going to differ depending on what they're looking to make and also what their price point is.
Does everybody understand what gross commission income is? I guess that's one of my questions, because I feel like sometimes that's a confusing one.
Mm-hmm. Great question, Laura.
Does everybody get that? What
everybody-
That's what I thought maybe. So just thinking about the gross commission is when you sell a house, it's the amount that comes to the office. That's the and then they split it and you get your portion. So it's the gross commission coming to the office.
Yeah, so gross before the split. So when we showed that dollar bill scenario, it's that middle line where half was going to one brokerage and half was going to the other. That's the gross commission income that comes off of the transaction. So again, depending on your marketplace, your gross commission income might be higher than $6,250. It might be lower. It depends on if you're a listing agent where you can actually leverage a little bit more and say you're averaging or you're asking for 6% and you can pull in 3.5% of that. So there's lots of ways you can affect your gross commission income. But if you don't look at the math and the numbers, it'll be difficult for you to help get to that goal. So this is a great opportunity to do it. And honestly, don't worry firsthand if you're getting confused at this. This is about repetition. And so you're just getting the language of business in real estate. You can sell real estate, but we want you to understand the language of business in real estate, which is extremely important. And that's where we pride ourselves in our coaching, is to understand the business. So that way you're growing your business and you're growing your gross income, obviously, to meet your goals and your dreams. So when it comes to establishing that, one of the great tools that we have is In Command for tracking your opportunities, and Nicole's going to kind of run through that for us.
Yeah, so with Juan's help,
Yeah, we'll help you out.
to get Command up and running.
We'll do the shuffle.
Yeah. because I'm going to go into your command, right? Okay.
It should be up.
All right.
You're good.
I'm just going to stand.
We won't tell who's taller, but that's okay.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So I need to get command up. So I'm going to take you right through like from logging in. Have you logged in yet?
It should be.
Okay. So where you can find this is in the reports applet. And these goals are based off of the MREA economic model. And you can also utilize the contacts and opportunities to track the activities and the production. All right, so Roland, why don't you? Oh, there you go. Okay, so what you need to do is go into the login site, which we just went to, throw in your credentials.
And that's agent.kw.com.
Yep. And so when you scroll down to the left, you're going to click on reports.
There you go.
Okay. Can you move the...
I got rid of this.
Yeah, please. All right, there you go. So up top here, you'll see reports. So you can click on that, and this is where you can, sorry, goals. So you want to click on goals, and this is where you can set them up. So just starting with a new fresh page, we're going to go to add a goal and go down to get started.
And this is the Kelly guide. This is going to walk you right through all of this.
Yep. So, did you do this or no? So what we'll do, we'll stay with Roland's numbers of 100,000, right? You okay if I switch this up?
Yeah, that's, you can switch that up. There was an original step this year, so.
Okay. All right. So 100,000. And then what you want to do is you want to put in your expenses and cost of sale. So what are we doing? 30?
24 is generally what I put in before.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry. It took me a second to get my command up. Where are you?
Yeah, sure.
Yes?
So if you go into reports on the left, are you at that point?
Yep.
Okay. And then if you look across the top, it will have goals.
Sorry, it's going a little slow. Okay.
Yeah, no worries. We're also going to give you time after this, once I walk you through it, for you to be able to jump on your command and put it in.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. Cost of sales, what do you want in there, Roland?
Cost of sales for me is for all those transactions.
Ballpark.
How many we have in there?
Just hang out.
24. Roughly 1,000, so $24,000 a transaction.
We'll put 24,000. So here, so now you have what your annual profit goal is. I just pointed at the screen. And your expenses and cost of sales. So your business makeup will be pretty
Nicole,
rough.
can I jump
Yes.
in for a second? I'm
Of
so
course
sorry
you can.
to interrupt. One of the things when I go through this, I think sometimes, again, brand new agents may not understand the difference between expenses and cost of sale. Does everybody understand that difference? No. Okay. Do you want to explain it? Do you want me to explain it?
Well, you can actually go right to the information. So expenses that are made, whether or not a transaction takes place. And the cost of sales is when a transaction does take place. So splits to agents, if you're working with a transaction coordinator or inside sales agent, the referral fees, anything like that. So that's when the transaction actually goes through. That's cost of sale. Expenses, it doesn't matter if it's a successful transaction or not. Those are going to be expenses that are always there. So through here, talking about automobile expenses, lead generating, marketing, any kind of salaries, your education, all of that. So Lorna, do you have any specific ones that you'd want to add into that list?
I usually am more very general, just to say expenses are dues, MLS, like all the things you have to pay, whether you have a sale or not. Your desk fee or, your office fee, whatever each market center charges for that. And then cost of sale is really your split with the company and with KW International with the franchise fee. It's usually the franchise fee plus your cap. That's your cost sale, typically. Now, you added in some stuff that I wouldn't usually mention, so I love that, like the referral fees and things like that. But typically, just to simplify, it's usually just our cap and our royalty.
Yeah. I think your way is much more digestible, Lorna. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sorry to interrupt. I just figured I've been doing this for 5 years, so typically those are the questions I see around this.
Yeah, and please keep on. Your knowledge and expertise is very much welcome. So please keep doing that. All right, so going on to business makeup, this is where you're figuring out, be it by your goals and looking at your past business. Where are you mostly listing? Are you mostly buyers right now? Roland has a 50-50 on here. So basically if he's looking at 24 transactions, he's looking at 12 listings that were successful and working with 12 buyers successful to them buying. And then you're putting in your average commission per unit. So again, depending on what your average split is, the listings, your average commission may be higher, or you have it here as even. So that can all change. So you want to figure out what your average commission is for listings and for buyers. So once you have all of that into place, you just go through the system. Juan, can you help me make this? Oh, here it goes.
You got it.
Yeah. So here now, this is where you go into your conversion rates. So this is where it would be good for you to work with a coach to get through this. But from your leads coming in, that they actually are created to contacts to appointments set. Those appointments that you set, that they're kept, that they're actually, that you as well as the person that you are meeting, that they show up, be it in person or through Zoom, phone calls, appointments kept to agreements so that you have them into an agreement, agreement to under contract or pending, and then those that are under contract or pending, that they actually close. So you can see that these are all percentages that you do want to figure out. And then once you go through the system, this is where I had the issue. Then it will give you a breakdown. Is it because it's 2021?
That may be, yeah,
So-
you started it.
So your goals are in there, though we're assuming since we're not to 2021, it's not pulling them all up to show. Because when I do this, it goes back to a guide.
Yeah, hit go to reports. See if it shows it in there.
So it went back to 2020.
Yeah, click on that.
So
Oh, yeah, it's not
yeah.
coming up.
So outside of Roland's 2021 goals not coming up on this, do we have any questions? Be it that if you guys want to come off of mute or in the chat.
I love this goal setting tool. I'm just going to tell you all, and anybody in my market center who's done it with me knows how much I love this, because I love the visual of all of it. And as they tweak it, and it gets even better and better. But just looking at the bottom number where it says closed units, and it says that you needed 56, right? And I also love if you click on the year and bring it to the month. Now it says to hit his goals that he wanted, he needs 14 closed units. And as he has sales, that number will get, the little circle will get colorful, right? To show what's happening. So, and then the other thing that I think people get nervous about is when they see leads that say 17,000, and just thinking what the leads are, the whole entire world, right? That's your Facebook ads. So that's your big wide net. And the contacts narrow down to the people you're going to have conversations with. So this is just a great visual to really help you develop your goal setting.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we're going to give you some time for you all to jump on your command and get your goals put in. So we're going to give you about 10 minutes. And when you're done, just put it in the chat that you're done. You can throw a smiley face or whatever you want. But let us know when you're done.
I have a question.
Yes. Bethany.
I know you already said it, but I was trying to follow you and look at the page.
Yeah.
What would I put in for expenses? What is that one? That's the one that are expenses that are no matter what, whether we make money or not.
Exactly. No matter if the transaction happens or not, those are always going to be things that that you're spending money on.
Okay, and then the cost of sales
is when there is a an actual transaction.
So if you're investing in a photographer, or you're buying a gift, or if you're incurring anything that's incurred during that transaction, is your cost of sale.
I'm going to push back a little bit.
Okay.
A photographer could be expenses because you could pay for it and then not have a successful sale.
That's a good point. Okay.
And that's why we talk through all this.
That's right. That's right.
So Bethany, one of the things like a cost of sale would be your split.
Okay.
With your brokerage,
because
that's
I've
only
never actually done anything yet. I'm kind of making up some of these numbers.
So I'm going to jump in again. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
Lorna, go ahead.
I'm trying to be quiet.
No.
That's okay, Lorna.
So the expenses, if you read the MREA, right, book, the red book, it tells us that typically it's 30% of your gross income, right? But for me, when I have brand new agents and knowing you're not paying an admin or paying some of those pieces, I tell them to use a minimum of 10% for expenses.
Okay.
So, but typically you're supposed, if you're following the model, it should be 30%. And then your cost of sales, again, if you take your cap in the franchise, that gives you that. If you're looking at average commission and you're not sure what your office average commission is.
I do know. Oh, yeah, I do know what that is. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question, Bethany?
To a degree. I'll figure it out.
I mean, basically, if you're saying $100,000, and Roland, you can tell me if you agree with this, or Nicole, anybody else, but typically, again, if you're $100,000, I would say you have $10,000 in expenses as a brand new agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Can I answer one more? So Susan's been asking about the business financial piece. So we actually dive really deep into this at the financial basics that we do. It's one of the last classes on October 5th. The woman who's teaching it's actually from my market center, and she is fantastic. She runs our financial committee at the office for the ALC. So you will get all of that information about kind of those type of things, and she'll help you talk about putting it in different buckets and taxes and all of that stuff. So it is coming. I know we want all the information at once, but it is part of Ignite, and you will get that class.
Nicole says she's done.
All right.
I'm done.
All right, Nicole, great job.
David had a question. Can you explain the average commission per unit?
That's just average commission. Are we on?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want that?
So average commission is just that, and that's the average commission that would be the split given that would come out of the transaction to the broker.
So you should know your office average, right? So our office average is 600,000 for a sale price times our average commission, our average rate that we charge, and then that's how you come up with the commission number. So again, every office, we're all in different brokerages, so we can't talk about percentages necessarily, but
Right.
I would say is that you should know or ask your productivity coach or your team leader or your MCA, what is our average sale price for the office and what is our average rate that we charge.
Yeah, that's very readily available.
Yep. But it is different since we're in a regional call. It's a little,
Yeah.
usually I can talk specific numbers.
Correct.
And Susan, you're asking about whether the gross commission includes the other side? Is that your question? I guess I'm not. It's really what our side is. So pretend that we charge 20% as a listing agent, and the buyer gets 10%, buyer agent gets 10%, and the listing agent gets 10%. So you're only looking at your half of what you would be earning, that 10%. And those are outrageous numbers. That's why I can say that percentage.
What does this goals screen actually represent? Like, what's the actual dollar amount for the goal? Because this looks like you're supposed to close 14 houses per month.
You just have to scroll down, and it says profit tracker underneath there, and it's based on 300,000.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, I promise I'm going to shut my screen off and be quiet.
No, this is great,
Lorna,
Lorna.
This is a team effort, right? So
That's right.
that's our process. So your knowledge is enhanced. It's much appreciated. So thank you very much.
I expect you guys on my call when I have to do this next week.
All right, there you go.
I'm teasing.
That's okay. So just for the newer agents and not so newer agents, it all is part of a process, right? So at Keller Williams, we pride ourselves in just being able to share. If you don't know information, find a source that knows it. And it's much appreciated because you can learn from different people in the company.
Yeah.
So no problem with that.
And in terms of command, it just, you want to time block time to go in, play around with it, get comfortable with it, and recognize that we have a wonderful tool in front of us to, especially as newer agents, to really build your business, understand your business, have all these visuals, to where it does help kind of catapult you into understanding we go back to goals, the things that you need to do, those activities that will eventually get you to, say, 300,000 on this. So it's a great resource and tool for all of us.
Yeah, and really try to take advantage of your tech coach. Even setting 15 minutes a week, 30 minutes a week. Those are the agents that I really see that are not calling me and saying, hey, this isn't working. It's more of, okay, we're progressing through it. We understand that we have some issues that come up, but those agents that meet with me weekly, they're always, having a lot of ahas, and those are the ones that are really gonna just make it. So take advantage.
So we'll just give it another couple minutes, or
Yeah, I'd say two minutes, unless, flood the chat box if you all feel that you've been able to go through command and fill this out for yourself.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I set my goals for 2021, and it won't let me actually view my goals for 2021.
Yeah. That's I just used 2021 so it was like a clean slate, just as an example.
Right.
So if you haven't set for 2020, you should be able to set for 2020 and have all of that reflect.
All right. So I can't set them for 2021. I have to do it for 2020.
As of right now, yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I got a question here.
please do.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I did post it out there, I don't know if you saw that, but I've had an issue as of last week where a potential lead asked me what our company commission rate was. My market center gave me a range within about 2 numbers. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's the best response you can give a client if they ask you that question right off the bat? I did mention to them that it was negotiable, but I just want to have like a real, absolute, answer to that, if you will.
So your question is really just at a listing conversation.
Yeah, somebody calls me.
They want to know what your rate is, and
Right.
you have a range
Yeah.
that was shared with you, and so you're asking how to be more specific to it.
Correct, with the client.
Okay. Well, in general, I think what you do is you shoot for the opportunity that's most important for you, and that is that you're comfortable with what you're asking for from that listing, from the sellers. in my particular case, I know that there's a range around 5 to 6, and I oftentimes do 5.5, even though I have many of my new students getting 6. So it just, it's the confidence that comes across and say, well, the listing commission is 6%. These are the values that I will share with you to help sell your home in a quick and reasonable time. And this is my marketing plan and my marketing strategy. And certainly look forward to moving forward and selling your home.
Okay, I was just asking as a new agent. Obviously, I haven't had any listings yet, and the market center, my market center, gave me a range of 5 to 7, and I kind of was a little confused as to if, like I said, if somebody asks you a direct question and they're like, "What's your rate for me as a seller? What would you charge me?" So I just wanted to have an appropriate answer for them.
I'm going to jump in here, Andrew.
Go ahead, Lorna.
We cannot be talking about commission in this setting in terms of setting an amount. It's against, we can't think of the law that it's against, but we can't do that. So we're all different brokerages. So we need to be very careful. What I will say to you, Andrew, and anybody else on here, thank you. I'm reading the chat. PC is productivity coach. But so commission is by brokerage. So you need to ask your productivity coach, PC, or your team leader, what does your market charge? Yes, the Sherman Antitrust. Thank you. All of you who just took your real estate class should know that. But so it's antitrust laws. So we can't talk about commission. So Andrew, ask if you're getting ready to go on a listing or working with buyers, asking your office, what do we charge? What's because our office has a standard. Every office has a standard. So check in with your office. Okay, Andrew?
Okay, thanks.
We have different brokerages on here, not just from Keller Williams. We have guests here. So again, please no more talk about commission.
Thank you, Lorna.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think everyone should be back from working on their command and setting goals within command. So we'll continue on.
All right. So, the point of this conversation is not about getting you to be the experts right away. It's about building your business and building your business acumen. And, some points, if you feel discouraged, you don't know that information, try not to take it that way. Ultimately, a successful business person has to start by building their business acumen at some point in time. You may know certain things now versus later. Just keep in mind you have great coaching and great expertise from your LLC available to you and your operating principles to help guide you through the process. So this is just us building our business and ultimately moving you forward in your conversations, and keeping it appropriate is obviously an important thing as well. So with that said, we're going to talk a little bit about
one more. We're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about the 80-20 principle. So have you guys can give a verbal yay or nay on this. How many of you have heard of this?
Many times.
Many times. Anyone else?
Everybody's saying yes, yes.
Okay, all right, then that makes it easy for me. All right, so the 80-20 principle, it's known as Duran's Law or Pareto's principle, is that the idea that 20% of your actions lead to 80% of your results. And this may be one of the most powerful principles that you add to your life. So another way of looking at it is, what are the big rocks? So if we want to be successful, we need to identify what our big rocks are. What are those things that top agents do through every day to be successful versus the 80%, the small rocks or sand that truly takes up just our time and energy without showing the results that we want. So does everybody know what I mean by big rocks, even though I just explained it? Are we good with that?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, you know, for visual, well, or I'll just tell you this, you know, if your day is a jar and you put your big rocks, you want to put your big rocks in first. If you put your little rocks, sand, gravel, etc., in first, you won't have time for the big rocks. Your big rocks are the most important activities of your day and those which cannot be skipped. Your little rocks are distractions or smaller tasks that need to be done but aren't going to get you materially closer to your goal. All right. So with that, what would be some of the big rocks in real estate?
Lead gen.
Lead gen?
You got it, lead gen, perfect.
Communication. Lead gen.
Yeah.
Lead gen. Lead gen's winning.
You guys are listening then. Perfect.
Follow up.
Follow up. Yep.
Relationship building.
Perfect.
So the one big question here is simply to identify your top 20%. Could somebody read the question on the slide?
I can read it.
Perfect.
It says, what is the one thing you can do right now that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? The one thing.
Excellent. Anybody have any feedback on that?
Yes, I do. Hello?
Okay, please
Go
share.
right ahead, Kay.
So this very this thing reminds me of a book, and that I had to read with one of the other programs, one of the other coaching programs, and it says the title is To Swallow a Frog. So the big rocks is our frog. We don't want to do it. We don't want to do it, but in order to succeed that day, we have to swallow the frog, to do the one that we're trying to walk away, and that's the biggest challenge for the day. Once this is done, everything else is like piece of cake.
Well said. So ultimately, it's the things that you can talk to yourself, that you actually talk to yourself, geez, I don't know if I feel comfortable doing, or I'm not sure about. Those are your big rocks. And ultimately, if you step forward each day and you start with those, your days only get easier. And that's the way I look at it. You know, and when it comes to the big rock, right, is lead gen. So if I start my day every day, reaching out to people and having conversations, those are my biggest rocks to move, and those are the ones that will help me become more successful. So that's the way I look at it, and that's the way I look at it with the one thing.
Yeah. Can I move to the next one? I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about. Okay, that's the 20% right there. Lead generate for buyers and sellers, and part of that too is the follow up as well. And that's the first thing that we do every day. And if you're not lead generating, then you don't have a business. This is what grows your business. So that is the big rock right there.
So at Keller Williams, we have a great tool, and we use it quite often to help us tackle our big rocks, and it's called the 411. So what we'd like to do, so in your participants guide, it's on page 7, I believe, is an example of what a 411 would be. And what we base this 411 on would be one of those large rectangles that you had originally when you set your goals. And what I'll do is I'll go through one that's a typical one, for instance, in a 401, it's easier to help understand, is my transaction goals. So for example, for me, I had a transaction goal of 24 transactions a year. So my 411 would start off with my big goal of 24 transactions, which is also attached to how much money I'd like to make. I put that in parentheses next to it usually. And then what I do is I break those goals down. So I go from the annual goal of 24 and I do it to a monthly goal. So if you're looking at 24 transactions, then that means you should be doing about 2 a month in order to establish it, to reach your goal. Okay. And the next thing in terms of what we do is for weekly goals is what's going to help us get us there. So for example, lead generation is the key. And ultimately, when you look at the main reason for lead generation is to secure appointments. So for example, if I want to hit 2 transactions a month, it takes on average to about 4 appointments for me to get those 2 transactions. So what I do is I do my weekly goals based on appointments. So for me, it's 2 to 1 in terms of appointments to transactions. That's my number. How many appointments does it take for me to get to a transaction or get to a listing or a buyer? So with that said, for me, and you'll know over time, and speak with your coach, honestly, it comes down to conversations. And over time, you'll understand how many people you have a conversation with, on average, does it take to get an appointment? And how many appointments does it take to get a listing agreement signed or a buyer's agreement signed? You'll understand your math as you move along and as you develop your skill sets for working with people and working with buyers and sellers. For me, it's 2 to 1. So in essence, what I would need, so for appointments, I'd need at least 1 a week in order to secure my 2 transactions a month goal. And that's how I do my 411. Anybody have any comments?
Roland, one of the things I do when I do this with agents is I look at those annual goals and I take them right from command, right? How many closings do I need? What is my profit that I want for the year? Kind of the 4 conversations that we used to use in the old days. But I look at appointments, profit, closings, contracts, like, listing contract, buyer contract, and then appointments that I need to get there. And then I break it down per month. So just as like, if somebody isn't sure what to put for those goals, that's how I do it.
Great point, Lorna. Any other comments?
I'm just answering a question on the chat.
Any questions on the 411, guys?
I forgot how we get to 411.
So that's, remember the original conversation, Kay, was around your original goals. Remember we had the sheet where we had the circle of our total dollar amount and we had a rectangles of
Yes.
what we wanted to accomplish. Your annual goal, this would be one of your rectangles, one of those big bucket goal or items that you're looking to accomplish or do.
No, I meant, where do I find this sheet?
It's in the
okay. It's in your
participant
guide.
Page 7. And this is also something that you can access through MyKW too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So with respect to the 411, you can break down your activities of what you need to do to establish a goal and start with the big number or the big goal and go monthly and then go weekly. And you'll find that as you break it down, you're going to have the opportunity to start the calendar. So, if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. And so you'll start to follow it. So I have a big calendar on my wall in my cubicle that has all my goals and what I need to accomplish each week, well, each month and each week going forward. So I take my 401 and I follow it each month so that way I know where I am. And it's a great visual for me. Okay. I don't know.
Okay, I got it. Can you Okay. All right. Got the next one. Sorry. All right. So as you go through and you're building your business, you don't want to lose focus, and you want to remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. It's at some point you're going to get into the grind, and some of you that are on the call today, you're going to absolutely love the grind. You're going to thrive in it. It's going to fire you up. And then there are some that the grind is going to be a challenge, and that is okay. What's most important is that you find something that gets you through that grind and keeps you fulfilled and going. And so part of that is, affirming your big life. So let me know if this page is right in your participant guide. Can you turn to page 8? All right, so on page 8, you can see that affirm your big life. All right, and what you're going to do is you're going to create a little ritual for yourself. So before there's an action in real estate, you are going to create an affirmation for yourself that keeps you focused and keeps you motivated to do that action. So for a personal affirmation for me with this, going into lead gen and making calls, I'm a big dog lover. We actually foster rescues, and one of my big why is to actually fund a dog rescue farm with a community for those that work at the rescue, as well as a vet on site. So for me, before getting into lead gen, the affirmation that I say is pretty simple: do it for the dogs. So that is just a reminder that when I'm going through the thick of things, when there's frustration that's setting in, that I'm in the grind, I may be feeling tired, I go back to that affirmation. So right now what we're going to do is take some time for you to create your own affirmation that you can use, that you can adopt, that you can keep on your person to have, to get you ready and in the proper mindset for those actions in real estate. Be it that, it's getting you ready to do lead gen. So if you take a moment, just write out your own affirmation that's affirming your big life. And would anyone like to volunteer? If we can take yourselves off mute, would you be willing to share your affirmation of what keeps you going, or what you will use to motivate you through the actions of real estate? Bueller?
So for me, I want to become a successful and contributing part of my family. And I just have to continue to remember that through discomfort, peace will come afterwards. So just keep pushing through the limiting beliefs and stuff like that to know that eventually things are going to work out and it's going to benefit me and my family.
Are you able to put that into like a smaller, almost like a mantra that you can say boom, 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 and it fires you up inside and it motivates you to go and pick up that phone and make that phone call?
That's not something I've necessarily thought of, but I will definitely do that because I do know that mantras and like repeating things make it to where like manifesting it to become a easier, normal part of the life.
Absolutely, Nolan. Yeah. So that's a good little exercise that coming off of this session that you can put into, your homework, is to create that affirmation that resonates with that is also easy for you to boom right off the bat, say it, have it felt here, and get you into action. What else? Who else? It's amazing when you actually verbalize it.
We got Joey and Craig. Okay, Joey?
Hey, so lead generation for real estate is like lead generating for votes, because eventually I'd like to run for public office. And
That's
if
a
I
great
can't, I
one.
feel if I can't call for to help grow my real estate business, then how could I ever possibly think of being able to call for and ask you or other people for their votes?
So what would be a positive way of putting that into an affirmation for you? So before you're picking up the phone or door knocking, that you say it and it's affirming that that you want to go into public service and that you have the ability to, as well as motivating you to get the action done, such as calling or door knocking.
I'll have to think about a positive way to spin that.
Maybe lead gen equals vote gen.
That's a good one.
I like that.
I like that. I like that.
I like that.
Well, there you go. Now you have it. Lead gen equals vote gen.
So I had some years ago, it was my pharmaceutical experience that kind of helped me think of some way to make a difference in how I approach people. And when I first, ironically, looked at sales, I really didn't like sales or the mantra of being a salesperson. I just wanted to help people get their goals. And in this particular instance, the physicians prescribe the right medications for the right people. And I said, how am I going to think of growing my business? And one of the things I said to my manager at the time was, I'm going to build a fan club. And my job every day is I'm going to add members to my fan club. And I'll do the best job and service I can so that way I bring people into my fan club. So the way I looked at it was I'm building a fan club for the future. And that's what motivated me to talk to people more and more, which was really something that actually propelled my career to get me on the national stage. So I just looked at it as building a fan club.
Roland, you keep talking about your pharmaceutical background. I'm using my spirit fingers. I'd love more clarity on that because I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. I'm joking, of course. I'm joking. I trust you. I believe you actually work for a professional organization selling drugs. Anyway, Joey, real quick. Joey, real quick, my thought process, we always joke as veteran agents, as coaches, we joke that you want to be a mayor of a town or a street, right? And with Gary, with this tech, we want to go hyper local down to the street level. So Joey, maybe this mindset for you would work. If you think about what we're doing, we always tell you guys, you have to tell people in your life, everybody in your phone, 7 times you're in real estate before they forget, right? Mm-hmm. So we are invariably having constant conversations to get mind share. So these people can maybe national average every 3, I think they've skewed it a little bit to 3 to 6 years now. The average American moves every 3 to 6 years. So moving forward into your political life, Joey 2024, by the way, I already ordered a shirt. So moving into your political life, you have to understand all of your service. Gary would say head down, heart up, service first, sales second, right? So you're doing all of these things to earn their vote in your real estate business every 3 to 5 years, when ultimately moving forward in the political lifestyle, it'll be every 4 to 6 years, right? So you're going to be doing this service, all these opportunities every day where you're serving your constituents to get to their vote in 4 years. They can only take action on you once every 4 years. So if you adopt that same lifestyle or that same mindset with your real estate, they should play well together.
Thank you very much.
Excellent point, Tim.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you.
All right. So when it comes down to your mantras and understand what's going to make you motivated to continue to move forward, one of the greatest things that you can do for yourself and for your fellow colleagues is find an accountability partner. And that accountability partner can be your spouse, significant other, a friend, a colleague. In this particular instance, it might be great if you had the accountability partner being somebody also here in Ignite with you. And what I would like to see you do is see if we can establish an accountability partner relationships with those people that are on Ignite now and going forward. So if you know of somebody that's in Ignite currently, see if you can hook up with them to be your accountability partner, to speak to them each week going forward, to talk about how you're doing with your goal setting and moving your business forward. And if someone needs an accountability partner, let us know. Put it in the chat, and we'll see if we can, over the next week or so, get you set up with that person.
Or Facebook.
Or Facebook. Exactly.
You hit this about sharing the 411.
No.
Yeah. So you have once you have identified your accountability partner, this is a great opportunity coming off of this session to share with each other your 411s and to share your goals, your annual goals, your monthly goals, so that you can start holding each other accountable while you're within Ignite. So how are you guys feeling? What's everyone thinking about what we've gone over so far? We as people running it, coaches, want to thank you for all of your hard work, and we appreciate that you guys are jumping off of mute and contributing to the conversation as well as the lively chat. So how are you guys feeling?
A little more goal oriented.
That's awesome. Nice. And we hope that you're all feeling empowered to reach your goals and go after that big life. And make sure that outside of all the busyness of real estate, that you're also taking some time to reflect and figure out what is that big life. And that that can come through just taking some time, meditation. That can come through journaling, vision boarding. Though the larger the life that you can visualize, the more that you have that you can go after.
All right, so what we'd like to do is have you go to page 9 in your participant guides and capture some of the highlights in terms of your ahas for achievement. So
I'm sorry, if I could propose something.
Yeah, please.
Could we do like a 10-minute break?
We're actually
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, why don't we do that? It's a good time for a 10-minute break. That's an excellent point.
Thank you.
All right, let's do 10.
Thank you, Bill.
We'll be back. Thanks, Bill.
It's 10:50.
10:50.
All right, so we'll be back at 11.
11 o'clock.
Okay, everybody back? Thanks, Bill, for that quick little reminder of a break. Sometimes things go by so busily that you forget what time it is. So
Sorry about that.
no, honestly, I appreciate you very much for doing that. So thank you so much, honestly. So let's look at, from our perspective, we have about an hour to go, and I want to manage this time appropriately for all of us. And that is some self-reflection you can do either, now or after the class is over. But some of the things that you need to keep in mind, obviously, is, how's your thinking changed? What do you feel differently about, and what was meaningful for you today? If you could look back and evaluate the course for today, and how will your behaviors be different going forward? Obviously, or what actions will you take going forward? And then also just keep in mind what tools and models and systems we have in place and how they will make you accountable. So using the opportunities to help you, using your 411 to help you will be extremely beneficial going forward. Nope. I gotta move it. All right, so building daily successes. As we talked about before, with respect to building your successes, it comes down into real estate and a couple things, and that's building your database, right? Script practice, lead generation, and then contract practice. Ultimately, you'll focus on predominantly the first three, and you'll get to be an expert at some point in time with respect to discussing contracts with your clients. But the main things going forward, right, is to keep your focus on the results of what you're looking to accomplish. And that would be, from a Spark perspective, we'd love to have you add into your database 10 contacts a day, have 10 conversations a day. And I can't tell you enough how handwritten notes actually make a huge difference when you're connecting with somebody on the phone and then sharing a follow-up note that they get a couple days later with your business card in it. It makes a tremendous difference. People love to have that written response, and it's a school of thought and a courtesy that's been kind of forgotten in today's technology world, but a handwritten note goes tremendously far. And then as you're looking to grow your real estate business, keep in mind that if you don't have any listings or you have a limited number of buyers you're working on, you can still work on becoming an expert in your market in terms of previewing homes, because once you establish yourself as the expert in the market, buyers and sellers will recognize that level of expertise. And it's also an enjoyable way to also meet other agents and see other agents' styles of how they do things. And obviously the inventory is important. So with that said, what I'd like to do is, again, talk a little bit about the value of scripts. So what we can do is we'll break out into scripting groups for about 15 minutes. And then we'll have some lead gen time for about 30. And then we'll follow up back with 15 minutes to the hour on some ahas and how you guys made out with your conversations during that lead gen time. So again, scripts are tremendously a great opportunity to give you something to say. And that's the biggest challenge, I think, when it comes to speaking with people, is just what to say or how to say it. And clearly you're going to uncover some motivations with respect to buyers or sellers. You're going to certainly identify some objections and concerns that they may have, especially if there were an expired listing or a for sale by owner. And it's going to help you get the closed deals. There's no question about it. It's just the language of real estate is about understanding customers and building confidence in speaking with them. So what we'll do is we'll get to script practice, and we'll look to, I'll need some assistance from my fellow coaches to set up the scripting rooms, but hang in there. We'll be right there. So you should get an invitation soon on that. Just a moment.
I lost your sound. Is everybody else hearing them?
No, 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, we just metered us out. We're just trying to figure things out here.
Hey guys, just as a reminder, you need to accept the room breakout to get into your script room. So on the screen, it should say, it should be inviting you into a room. Just accept that and you'll be going into your room to script practice.
Oh, cut right off.
Yeah.
We had a great session going.
That was good.
Thanks, Walker and Kevin.
How did your role play go, guys?
This is Ronnie. It went very well. I think we're actually enjoying it. So we got a lot of practice, a little feedback, and it was a little too short.
Well, there's always an opportunity to role play. So if you have an accountability partner amongst us, right, that would be great to set some time to role play to be an expert. And it's really about you scheduling just a little bit of time each day to do it, and having your accountability make sure that you're doing it too. And did you happen to have an accountability partner at this point?
Actually, I'm working on that right now. I've been in touch with Joyce, and hopefully we'll be able to get together and do some role playing and just go over our day.
Okay, fantastic. So I know that we're past the role play scenario window. I'd love to be able to have us get back into doing some calling. So we have a few minutes to do some phone calls. And I'm just wondering for us, so is it set up for us, just this group or the whole?
We're in the
Or-
whole entire
yeah,
group.
okay, so we need to get into
Do we
it.
need a breakout?
We need
Another breakout?
breakouts for everybody.
All right, give me 1 second. I'll message.
I don't know if we usually, for calling, guys, we usually just stay together and
Yeah.
see, like,
Okay, and just mute?
just everybody mute. So stop sharing your screen so we can kind of see everybody or as more people. And then everybody, this is the time they should all know after 4 days last week that this is the time that they're making their calls, and stay on with us, get those calls made, and then you'll unmute when you want to finish up in like 15 minutes, and then we can do ahas.
It's a game plan. Let's do that.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. So let's make some calls. Then we'll join back up at 1:15.
Don't forget to smile, everybody.
Okay, what do we have on the list today?
All right, everybody, how'd you make out? Last 15 minutes, we'll catch up and chat a little bit. Anybody care to, I think you gotta unmute them. Care to let us know if you had any success during the last couple minutes?
Well, I would like to share something.
Please, go right ahead, Bethany.
So after in the breakout group, we did a couple of the scripts, and then I got I noticed a phone call coming in, so I excused myself, and I was just on that phone call most of the time because it was someone who heard my name and they would like to list their house. And if that happens, that would be my very first.
Congratulations. Awesome. That's awesome. All right. Anyone else? Oh, I think they're all muted.
Hi there. I'm Nicole Vadney. I'm over in the Sprinkle there, Lone Meadow.
Hey,
You guys are doing a
Nicole.
great job today. Just want to say that. So good job right out of my market center. And I did have, I at least got somebody on the phone today who I met at an open house. So I'm following up on my open house that I had on Saturday, and just to follow up and make sure that I touched base with people. And so I did, this was a guy who was unattached to a realtor. So I made sure to follow through with him today. And I have an appointment to talk to him and his girlfriend later on at 4 o'clock. So I'd already established a good personal connection. So at least I got something out of the last few calls. So that was good.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I actually had a client contact that I never really thought he would be serious about buying. And I just stayed in touch with him a little bit. And then he sent over a text message with his information that he's pre-qualified and he's ready to go and wants to look at houses this week. So by just nurturing that contact, I think it's been 9 or 10 months. And he's calling to ask for time this week to show houses in the community around me. So it was a productive 15 minutes for me. Anyone else?
Looks like we still have quite a bit of people on the phone.
Okay, yeah, we got a lot of people still dialing and talking, which is also a good thing. So that's what we're all about, is doing some lead gen. So ultimately, we'll see if people come back on and have any success stories. But first and foremost, I want to thank all of you for your time. And I'd like to thank all of my fellow coaches, because without them, I wouldn't be here in particular. And I think as we learn and as I learn, and you'll know with Keller Williams, it said, don't be afraid to share. And everybody has a bit of knowledge that they can share that somebody will appreciate. And I know that I appreciate that completely. And that's the process of Keller Williams, is really sharing and caring about who we're working with, and ultimately helping you find your dreams and set your goals and helping you get you there. And that's really what keeps us going. I know maybe some of my other fellow coaches might chime in now with some of that additional thoughts, but that's how I feel about today. And I greatly appreciated your time. And I know Nicole did as well, and obviously Juan did as well.
Roland, I was just going to add, it's Erin. Hi. I was just going to add, I put it in the chat, the daily 10-4, and just want to remind everybody to really be doing your daily 10-4 and lean into that. The more you, especially the 10 homes a week, even if you have to preview virtual home tours, make notes on them. What do you notice about them? It's going to make these calls so much easier. The more that you know your market and you feel confident that you understand what's happening with real estate where you are, the easier it's going to be when you get that question of what's happening with the market. How do you like it so far? What's going on? You're going to get in a conversation. People are going to ask you things. And if you can share stuff you've learned, it's just going to make it easier and more comfortable. And your conversion rate's going to be that much higher. So I just urge you to preview those 10 homes specifically. If you haven't been focusing on that, maybe that's a goal this week for you.
I love that, Erin's Lorna. I'm going to piggyback on that to say, real estate, we'd like to tell you, is 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Yet weekends, you know, my Sundays was my open house day. And if I didn't have an open house, I was previewing everything. So right now there are 18 homes in my town. 18. That is it. You can preview that in 2 weeks and be done, plus anything new that comes on. The inventory is really low. There's no reason you shouldn't know what's in your town. We are, in most of our areas, able to go into an open house. And then also I would share with you to use stories to have that professionalism. So using like what you're learning in your morning huddles or in your office or hearing from top agents, you know, this weekend, you can use my story. I went and showed a house, 18 cars down the driveway for the open house, 18, right? Little 10-minute walkthroughs, that's what we got. We made an offer, 11 offers. So that's the market right now in most of our areas. So share that. Like, oh, it's a really active real estate market. That gives you something to talk about. So even if you weren't the one showing the houses this weekend and doing that, I would really encourage you to share stories that you hear, right? And that is by being in these classes and being on the huddles and being in the things in your office. So that's the only piece I wanted to add, because I love the previewing a property. Edie Hill, who is was our operating principal and is still an agent in this office, has been in real estate for almost 50 years, 50. And she previews properties because then what she says she does is think about who's a match for this property. That's how she does it. That's her approach. And she was, again, she just let go of the ownership here, but to her daughters, so she's still here all the time. But thinking about somebody with that much experience, that's how she built her business. Saw this property, who do I know that wants to buy it?
The matchmaker, I love it.
Yeah, Lorna, I love that you said that, because Nathan Dickey, our operating principal here in Portsmouth, does the same thing. And when you're starting the phone call with, "Hey Lorna, hey Erin, I was thinking about you. I saw this house and it was like the one that you and Maddie were talking about last year," or something to that extent. Above and beyond that, the other great point that's been made, and we can't say it enough, please don't answer the question, "How's the market?" It's great. Like, you are not Tony the Tiger. You're supposed to be the economist of choice. You're supposed to be their resource, their source of the source of real estate information. So even if you don't have all of the intricacies of this property, you can at least say, because when they say, "Did you see that thing over on Hill Street came on the market?" No, I didn't. I don't want to hear that from you. If you're my economist of choice, if you're my guy or my girl at Edward Jones and I say, "What should I be doing with my money?" and they're like, "The market's great," and then they run away, like, I'm probably not coming back to you with my wallet and my future in your lap. I want you to give me some metrics. I want you to give me some information, some knowledge I'm not able to get, because the struggle right now for us is the information is out there. And arguably, as realtors, with our access to our local boards, with our access to MLS PIN, whatever you have access to in your local market, we do have another curtain that we get to go behind to get more information. That benefits nobody if we're not accessing that information and becoming students of the industry to bring it back to our people, right? So they want to do business with people they know and love and trust, and they will trust us more when we have better information. Every time they run into us, you've got some nugget, something you know because you asked a question of somebody in your marketplace, or you studied your metrics, and you're becoming a student of the industry. So you're not answering with just "it's great." Get better at answering that question, and please don't ever use that answer. And everything that we're talking about here in Ignite, all these things, schedules, goals, your calendar, leverage, it's all to protect your one thing. Here's mine. The dust cover is gone. It burnt in the fire. Your one thing is lead gen, whether you like it or not. You don't like those words? We don't care. I mean, that's just what we're not going to lie to you. We're not going to lie to you. Like, lead generation is it. It's finding the way you're going to lead generate to connect with your people is what you need to worry about. And all the things that we're learning through these 18 sessions are to protect that time to get your face in front of other people's faces with great information.
And so I'll challenge you all, before Roland signs off on everybody, to know your market. I just told you how many houses are in my town. Do you know what the inventory is in the town that you service? And if not,
oops, sorry.
Sure.
I was just gonna say, I just did an open house this weekend, and then Sunday, so Saturday was hugely busy. I hired an assistant to help me with the open house because I knew I needed another body there. Depending on the price point, it might be really busy and too much for one person to handle, especially with COVID. So for anybody who's new in the market and you're new as a realtor, you should be reaching out to the people in your just through your emails or whatever in your market center and saying, hey, do you need another body at your open house? Because everybody should have another body at their open house right now. Just the way we managed it, we had them come in one door and go through. I had a whole new survey that I did, which was awesome. It gave them what we needed for COVID. I had my assistant get their information, and then I met them at the end of the tour at the other door and followed up with the questions about what they thought for feedback. So I had an actual number as far as on a scale of 1 to 10, whether or not they thought that house was the best for them or not. And it was so great that it was smooth like that. Now I have an actual sheet per person to follow up with on today or yesterday. And then yesterday, because another rep of mine, I was previewing houses, which is what made me jump in. A friend of mine, one of my colleagues, was having an open house right in my old neighborhood where I grew up. One of the best houses in the neighborhood, huge, big behemoth of a great house. Never seen it because it hasn't been on the market ever. And I wanted to see it. So I went to the open house and connected with her. I'm like, do you have someone else to help you? Because beforehand I said this, because you're going to need another body. She says, no, I didn't have anybody scheduled. So I said, I didn't really want to volunteer for that. But at the same time, she needed help. So when I got there, I ended up knowing or talking to the owner. It was a great experience. And I'll likely help her sell that house is my intent because I know how great it is. But I was able to help another agent at the same time. The point is, even if you're new, that's what you should be doing. And prepare yourself for open houses. If you're going to have them, make sure you have another body with you because it's very helpful. So that's my 2 cents.
Love it.
To Lorna's point, know your market. And that is a tremendous value. And to Tim's point, right, is credibility is built by the information you know, not just the description of the market. And ultimately, you'll learn that. And ultimately, we've all learned it in our own way, what to say. We're just putting you guys ahead of the curve by starting to realize that information is power. Know your market, know some tidbits about your market that your clients may not know that you can share. And with that said, I get 2 minutes on the clock, and I can't thank Juan enough for making sure we're technology not so handicapped by me. Thank you, sir.
No problem, sir.
Thank you all to the great productivity coaches in this company that assist everybody on every single moment of every day. And I appreciate all of your feedback and comments today as well. And we wish you guys the absolute best. I think next week we have the next 3 days off, or this week 3 days off for Ignite, just so people remember with Mega Camp. So stay tuned, stay engaged, keep up with your 10-4 per Aaron's points, and let's get some real estate going and share some information, okay?
Thank you, Roland. That was great.
Thank you guys. Appreciate all of your help.
We'll
Have an
see you
awesome
Friday.
day.
Yeah.
Friday.
Friday.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye. Have a great day, everyone. See you at Mega Camp.
Thanks, everyone.